In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a customized chargeback report, similar to the one you see here. In this report, I've kind of created a scenario where a director of, let's say, the accounting department is needing to see how much his applications and his VMs are costing the company. So we need multiple levels of grouping here, right? We need to be able to group VMs via a department, as well as the application groups, so each application will be grouped together. And then I wanted to also be able to show the different environments that we have, so production, development, test, things like that. This is a very narrowed down demonstration of what you can do. This is just a few applications, but I'm going to show you how to create this, right? The key thing that is taking place here is that we've assigned specific tags to our VMs, and based on those tags, I'm then able to create a report. So the tags I created were the application group tag, as well as department, and as well as an environment. Now, department environment are kind of out of the box tagging categories. The application group is the one that I created specifically for this example. So let's take a look real quick. I'll show you how to make those tags and add them into CloudForms. But let's look at this report real quick. We will go to reports, and we'll go to my custom report here, and we will edit this report. So the first thing we do to create a report, a customized report, is just give it a menu name, right? Something that we're going to call it, that we're going to see in this left-hand menu. Then we need to give it a title for inside the report. And then we can base this report on different things. And so there's all sorts of different canned reports that we can build off of. And in this case, I did a chargeback via chargeback from VMs. And once you do that, you're given essentially available fields that can be pulled and used, right? So we have a lot of custom tags down here, as well as the fields such as compute costs, and what all you do is basically select these, hit the down arrow, brings it down here into the selected fields that I want in my report, and then I can organize them here on the right. So that's how we create it. That's how we pull the data out of CloudForms. Then we can go into things like formatting, where we can actually change the names of the headers in the report, as well as the format that the data is going to be represented in when it spits it out, as well as we can change the page size and things like that if we're going to print it, if we're going to create a PDF from it, or things like that. The next tab over is we're going to filter it, and this is kind of how we're going to control how things are displayed in that report, right? So we want to actually show costs by department, right? So I selected, I could do owner or tenant, but in this case I wanted to use my custom tag, my company tag that I called, or that is department, right? And inside that tag category is my tag of actual accounting, and you can see I have a bunch of different sample tag categories inside of department, or tags inside of department. And then we can finally group by VM instance and project, or we can group by tag. So if we wanted to, we can actually tag this and change it to application group. So essentially it's going to sort by this department, accounting department, and then it's going to sort by, or group them all by application group. And then we're going to basically just tell it how do we want to display these costs. And here we want to show the costs. For this report, I'm doing it by day, but we could do week or month, and that way you'd have a much longer set of data. In my case, I don't have a lot of data in there, so I'm just pulling kind of from the recent day. And finally, we can actually preview this if we want to see what this looks like. We can load a report just to get an idea of how it's going to look when it pulls this data. And so here's an example of that output. All right, all we do is hit save, and we now have a saved report. So now, essentially, we can put this on a schedule. We can come up here and say, put this, I want to run this monthly, and have it send me an email. Fairly simple to do. So let's actually do that. I don't think there's a schedule. So we can say, let's run this monthly. We can put a date that we want to run. We want to run it every month, and we want to send an email. Let's do that, and we can send it to whoever. So I won't do that right now. That's adding extra steps, but you get the idea. You can have this report sent out to you, and every month you'll get a nice report on your chargeback. So finally, let's just look at how I created those tags, right? So we do that inside of our overall CloudForms configuration. So inside our configuration, we see all the typical stuff you saw when you set up CloudForms. But one of the things we want to do is look at click our region, right? Our overall container there. And we can look at the different categories that are built into CloudForms. And you can see I created something called application group. And so we can come in here and see that, okay, so I created my application group here. You can see my other company tags inside of application group. I created these Ecosys, Hyperion, just some typical applications that would be grouped together. And so we can see that there's other things in here. We can look at departments, and if I wanted to, I can actually, I don't know why I have that in there. We'll delete that. And I can add things in here as well, different departments that you do. So you'd customize all this ahead of time. You can go back later, but typically you want to do this really early on in your setup. So you set it up the way you want CloudForms to view things. So that's tagging, and then really all you have to do then is go into, so once you've set up your tags, all you need to do is go into your infrastructure or whatever systems that make up those application groups and the departments and things like that. You go in and tag your machines, and I'll show you how to do that real quick. So in this case, I will actually just show you what I've already done. But we would go into a virtual machine or pick multiples, and you can actually go and edit the tags. So in this case, we can see I've added, this server isn't part of Ecosys, it's in the accounting department, and it's a production server. And so those are just tags I added, and I do that basically going up to policy, edit tags, and I just grab whatever tags I want to add to the system. So in this case, let's change this from accounting, let's change this over to, we'll go to department, and we'll maybe this is part of the communication group. That's all we do. Hit that, change that over, hit save, and you've updated the tags. And so again, if you wanted to add a tag, you would just again, whatever tag you want to put in here, assign it a value, and go to town. You can also grab multiples. So you can do, if you know that you've got a bunch of systems here that are all part of the same department, you can edit the tags and see, we can see all of these are part of the accounting department. So if we wanted to, we would come in here, we would say department, we'd set it to accounting, and now these are set to accounting. So anyway, once you've done all that, and you've set up your tags on your VMs, you've created your tags, and you've created your report, that's pretty much all you need to do in order to get that final report. And again, let's go look at and see what that looks like. Let's go to reports. We can go to Chargeback and look at the reports from there. And inside of accounting Chargeback, we can see the reports here. And again, we've got these grouped. We've got Ecosys, we've got Hyperion, we've got SAP. And again, this is all just sample data, but these are all part of the accounting department, and each one has its environment. And you can see the costs in here. Again, these VMs haven't been up very long, so there's not a lot of data we're pulling from here, but you get the idea that I can look at CPU used, the cost, memory used cost. And again, you still have all of those other fields that we could pull into this report and really customize it and get it down to how you want it to look. To take it even further, we can actually go and take the report that we just created and create a widget that we can then put on our dashboard. And this will give us a nice summary of what's going on inside of our accounting group. So let's go and take a look and see what that looks like. Let's go to Reports, and inside Reports we will actually go up and create a new widget. We'll give it a title, we'll call it Accounting Chargeback. Description we will call, let's just do the same thing. We'll go find the report we want to actually pull from, and that's down in our custom reports down here. So we'll click on My Company because that's the tenant we're working under. We'll click Custom, and then we'll go to Accounting Chargeback, which is the report we created. For columns, we're going to grab an application group. Let's grab the environment as well as the total cost. And that should be able to give us some good information. And then we can actually expand the row count. Typically, by default, these widgets have 5 rows that they'll display. If we wanted more, we could do that, but we'll leave it at 5 for now. And finally, the timer as far as how often these reports will get run. I'm going to leave all this default, but really, ultimately, that report only gets run monthly, if you remember how we set that up. So in this case, we might want to set it to monthly, just so it would regenerate the widget, or we might want to bring our report in and maybe do it, the actual report itself, maybe do that a little more frequently if we want that data refreshed more than just once a month. Once we have that, we click Add, and that's all. That's really all that it takes. We can then go back to our dashboard, and we will add this to our dashboard. We'll add that widget. I'll show you how to do that. So we basically come up here and we click the plus sign. We now see we've got a widget here called Accounting Chargeback. Click on that. Now the first time it's going to load, you'll see it actually tells you it doesn't have any data. So all we need to do to fix that is just click refresh. So once it's been refreshed, we can see our information displayed now. We can see the different application groups, what environments they're running in, and how much each of those applications is costing us during the period that we're polling here. So again, just a quick example of how easy it is to kind of get information in reports and then display that on your dashboards. So hopefully this has been helpful.